Good morning. We are heading into the season where food comes to the forefront. With inflation still a problem, what are grocery prices looking like as we round out the year? We have the perfect person to ask. Wayne Pesce is the president of the Connecticut Food Association. He joins me in Studio A. Thanks for being with us.
Morning, Eric.
Tell me where generally we are. What are you seeing trend-wise? The consumer price index was up 2.7%. Does that translate into what we're going to see with our grocery bills?
In terms of Thanksgiving shopping, I think there'll be some price relief in terms of what retailers are doing in terms of value offers. The price of the plate average nationally is between $65 and $70, which is really in line with what you saw last year. And I think consumers are going to be out there shopping for value in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, and researching before I talk to you, a lot of the things that are driving that consumer price index for groceries are things like beef, bananas, and coffee, not really Thanksgiving staples. We might have a different discussion talking that Christmas dinner, but one of the things that you and I were talking about before we got started, it's not so much comparing it to last year because the big bump we saw was a few years ago, and we're kind of still feeling those effects, right?
No doubt. So if you went back to 2023 and 2024, I think the cost of the plate went up from $53. It's up to $65 now. It's flat to where it was a year ago, but consumers are paying more now than they were 2 and 3 years ago, but not as, very similar to what they paid a year ago.
What are you seeing specifically with turkey prices? I did some looking around and I saw some numbers saying they were slightly down, some saying they were way up. What are you hearing from your members? Because you got it right from the source for us.
Yeah, so the cost from the manufacturer to the retailer is up slightly. But what we're going to see play out in the market is you won't see those price increases being absorbed by, they'll be absorbed by the retailer, not by the consumer, because there's a lot of competition in the market and lots of different types of offers out there depending on the retailer.
There's been a lot of talk about some of these big box chains across the country doing a price per person kind of deal, a flat fee, and you get so many place settings. The president was talking about the Walmart deal. I know Target has a similar deal. Are you seeing your members and the local places where our viewers are going to go shop doing similar things, or what are you seeing as they're trying to get those feet in the door?
Yeah, well, absolutely. So, that's a national retailer. They've got their strategy in terms of driving customers, but I think and obviously they're here in our state, but everybody's kind of coming at this their own way. So, for example, you'll see some retailers leading with a very, very low cost on turkey. 49 cents a pound, I think, was the number last year that we saw one of the major retailers in at the state, and that's literally they're taking a loss at that price. So you'll see some really aggressive pricing. You'll see other retailers that will be doing loyalty programs where if you spend X amount during the month, you'll get the free turkey like we did prior to COVID. Everybody got a free turkey. Those days are gone, unfortunately. And then you'll see other retailers doing these bulk discount retails, which is what you've kind of driven at. And so, yeah, there's a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of different ways to approach it. But I think what you're seeing is competition is driving, different types of approaches to drive customers into the stores.
One of the distinctions that you make in evaluating all this is sort of the center of the plate versus the other things that might be part of this. We talk so much about egg prices, and I know they've kind of been on a roller coaster this year. So it may, obviously that could get part of the Thanksgiving meal. It also could be part of the baked goods after that meal, Wayne. So where are we with eggs and with some of those other ancillary items?
Yeah, right. That's a great point, because the center of the plate feels very similar to a year ago, right? The turkey, the stuffing, the cranberry, all of that feels very similar to a year ago. But where you're going to see some potential disruption or some spikes, certainly coffee is up. So if you're going to have coffee with your dessert, eggs are very interesting. Eggs are actually lower than they were a year ago, but much higher than they were during the summer. So I think they were $2.99 during the summer. You're probably going to be paying somewhere around $4.99 during the holidays. Last year was $5.99. So, some of that baking costs that you might have, that might shift your way, fortunately. And imported pastas are on a hit list now. I don't think it'll impact us for Thanksgiving, but certainly, the other winter holidays. And then beverages are up slightly. Imported wines, even soft drinks. So there's been some but nothing like what we saw in 2023 and 2024.
There was a lot of talk from the Trump administration when the consumer price index showed an increase for groceries, that there might be some softening of tariffs on some things that could affect things like beef and bananas and some of the coffee that's being imported. Have you, as we've seen tariffs come on and come off, and there's been so much back and forth, do your members and do the food retailers here in Connecticut, do those changes come to them and then on to the consumer quickly? Say in time to put that prime rib on the table for Christmas?
Immediately. But I will tell you, in terms of beef, Argentina can supply about 1% of the U.S. demand. So Argentina is not a fix for a longer-term problem. There are grain and supply issues with the herds, and it could take anywhere from 3 years to get a cow ready to go to market in terms of that. So the beef thing is going to take a little bit longer to play out than most. But in terms of eggs and things of that nature, tariffs come and go, and prices will spike and they'll come back down.
What are you looking at long range? I mean, we were just talking about Christmas, so we're a month out, but as we look into 2026, what will you be keeping an eye on? Anything that you expect to spike? Maybe we should stock our shelves now, or is there anything that kind of an indicator of where we're going in the new year?
Well, the first thing I would say is competition has been very healthy, right? Because right now what you have going on in 2026 is a lot of these larger retailers are kind of absorbing some costs, which aren't being passed on. I will tell you that tariffs are the unknown because, we're seeing it with bananas right now. That's a tariff issue. We're seeing it with coffee, which is a drought issue. Those are things that there are variables that I don't think you can put into how you're going to plan for the future. So I think we're past the 11% food cost inflation that we saw in 2023, but are there some indicators that tell you that it may get a little bit worse before it gets better?
All right.
Energy costs, fuel costs, labor costs, they all play into the into the cost of the food.
Well, and this is one place we all go to those supermarkets, we all check out, so we feel that in our pocketbooks. Wayne, thank you for being with us once again and giving people a little insight. Maybe it'll guide their shopping as they head out and get ready for that Thanksgiving meal. We'll have you back again for sure.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Eric.